the horrible attack on Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi's husband, and he was violently attacked last night at their home in San Francisco. And violence is never okay, despite political disagreements. It is wrong to violently attack anyone. None of us have a right to do that. And Paul Pelosi is the husband of Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, and he was taken to the hospital earlier this morning because of that attack. And he was attacked by an individual that entered the couple's home, unfortunately. So Paul Pelosi was reportedly attacked by his assailant with a hammer. The attack was not random, and the attacker specifically targeted the Pelosi family home. Paul suffered blunt force trauma to the head and body in the attack. He is being treated in the hospital for bruising, severe swelling, and other injuries. Now that individual has been arrested and has been charged with attempted homicide, among other charges. What happened when he entered the home is quite chilling. Let's put up this tweet from Christian Wilson. The assailant who attacked Paul Pelosi was in search of the speaker, according to a source briefed on the attack. The intruder confronted the speaker's husband in their San Francisco home, shouting, "Where is Nancy? Where is Nancy?" The source identified the suspect as David DePape. The home is meant to, anybody's home is meant to be a safe space. It's where all of us should be able to take our refuge and not have to fear some intruder coming into our home, enacting violence. This is exactly what happened to the Pelosi family, and it is wrong. Let's put up this other headline. US faces new era of political violence as threats against lawmakers are, it's on the rise. Members of the House will now get up to $10,000 to upgrade their home security as experts warn such threats endanger the health of US democracy. What in the unholy hell? Really makes no sense. So again, this should be yet another reminder to us that we all have an obligation in this country, one to another, and nobody deserves to be attacked in the way that Paul Pelosi was attacked in his own home. Ben?
Yeah, and this is really, I think the most frustrating part about this is that this is part of a long-term campaign that the political right in the United States has been engaging in for the past, really since the beginning of the history of the United States. There's always been right-wing terrorism, especially, obviously towards black and brown folks across the country throughout history. But it's been escalating in recent years. And the unfortunate reality is that Republicans have got political victories this way, right? Fundamentally, the reason why Roe v. Wade was overturned was because when the political right used terrorism against, abortion providers and any of their advocates, well, the Democrats responded by not talking about it. And now, unfortunately, the reality is that when this happens to Nancy Pelosi, which is incredibly tragic and deeply, deeply terrifying, the response that we've seen so far to things like this has been to bolster the security personally among Democratic officials, while ignoring the security of everybody else. Quite literally, the Democratic Party was actively funding more extreme Republicans because they thought it would be a winning strategy, and it turns out that's not working. So the reality is the Democrats, to a certain degree, have allowed this to happen. And fundamentally, as long as federal agencies continue to ignore the death threats that people see online, then we will live in a culture where people think threats to people's lives are just normal like this.
Ben, you are absolutely right about in terms of what some people are perfectly okay with this type of violence, which is really a truly sad commentary on our nation. We're gonna put up a graph that shows that people who feel that violence is justified in advancing their political goals. And this is in the United States from 2017 to 2020. You also made another point, Ben, that I almost jumped out of my seat about, which is this country was founded on violence, obviously. And it should come to no surprise that in the 21st century, some of those same tactics are being used. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate and it is very wrong. America, we got to get it together, baby. This is the 21st century. And this kind of stuff should not only should it not be happening, it should not be acceptable. I mean, a large segment of people in this country think it is just okay to use violence to advance their political means. And I am here to tell you that it is not okay to use violence to advance your political ideas, and especially invading somebody's home. So thoughts and prayers are with the Pelosi family, and I hope that Paul Pelosi has a speedy recovery.